Hello, hello, hello. Welcome in. I am super excited that the time has come. I am Natalie Mack. I'm the founder of Military Homeschoolers Association. And I am honored to have Candace Guelzo here with me, a West Point military homeschooling mama. She is an awesome lady. She is the researcher behind all of our survey and data. And so we are excited to be here. Candace, I don't know if you wanted to say hello, but we
Yes.
are
Yeah.
ready to
No,
roll.
it has been just a joy to work with you, Natalie, and such a blessing to be part of this foundation and to really get into this research. And I'm excited to share with you today. It's going to be great.
Yes, 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 yes. And so I am cutting up my volume because I obviously should have done that before. Okay. All right, all right, all right. So let me apologize now. I gave the link, incorrect link to StreamYard. But I did try to go through and delete that link and correct. So if you're hearing my voice, that means you're good and you are watching on our Military Homeschoolers Association Facebook page, or you're watching on our YouTube channel, which we do have. That's where our podcast Base to Base Military Homeschooling is now launched. So if you've missed the launch and the episodes that are there, please go and click on the playlist on YouTube. It will eventually be uploaded to Spotify and Apple as audio as well. And you may be listening and watching on LinkedIn. So, hello, hello. Thank you all for joining. We are super excited about this. This is a groundbreaking survey, you all. I've been homeschooling 23 plus years, all within the military homeschooling space, the community. I'm a super passionate about serving my fellow homeschoolers. I am just so aware of the needs that we have within our community, and I am excited that so many others have said, "Hey, we want to come and support what is happening with Military Homeschoolers Association," and we are excited to go forth and share the data that we have as a result of the survey. I first want to say thank you to everyone who responded to the survey. We had, Candace, how many? 800 and like
861. And of that, we were able to use 763. And I was just blown away by that. That was such a fantastic response. It was so great. So great.
That is incredible, incredible, incredible. So for our first survey, you all, this is the first ever that I'm aware of survey for military homeschoolers. So you may realize in your own community the growth that's happening within our community, or you may not realize it. But the latest stats are we are double the national average for homeschoolers. So about 8% nationally homeschooling in the active duty military community. We're at close to 17%, you all. And that data comes from the US Census's Household Pulse survey, which they just ended. It was a COVID survey, and they just ended it in September. And that is the data that we have. Shout out to Blue Star Families that has often asked one or two questions about homeschooling, maybe two or three. But I'm appreciative of you all. We felt that we needed more detail. We needed more data. And so here we are. And Candace answered my call. So I'm super excited about it. So let me stop talking, and we're going to get going and dig into the data, because that's what we are all here for. So Candace, can you share what the demographics, like who are our homeschoolers, from what branches, and do you have any data specifically about that?
Oh, Natalie, I have so much data. It's so good.
Yes.
I'm
Yes.
so excited. So excited. So as you would expect, the majority, 98% of our respondents were the spouse, and 97% of those were female. So we're really talking about the females in the household who are doing the homeschooling. Regarding branch, we had representation from every branch in the military. which I thought was just fantastic. The leading branches, the branches that were most represented, were the Army and the Air Force, each about 33%. And then there was, I believe it was the Navy. But after that, everybody else was represented, including Space Force, Coast Guard, our reserves were represented, our National Guard were represented. So it was really, really everybody there. We had 80% of our representation was CONUS, so those living in the continental United States. And we had all but 4 states represented, which wasn't that amazing? I was so amazed by that, because that meant we were really able to spread a wide net regarding our CONUS community. So we really got a little bit of everything. And we did get obviously some OCONUS, and the most information we got from there was from South Korea and Japan. So that's really, those are our big ones. And we did have a huge disbursement of ethnicities as well. The majority were Caucasian, but everybody, I feel like a lot were represented. So that was really, really great. So that's basics of our demographics there. We've got more, but we're going to make you dig for some stuff, guys.
Yes, we are hitting the highlights. This survey, this survey will be available on the website on militaryhomeschoolers.org. That is our website. You will be able to see the survey, all of the beautiful graphics, the colors and everything, and all the data. You'll be able to dig into the specifics, but we would be here for a while if we went that deep on this particular live stream. But you will be able to, by tomorrow, we anticipate having the survey up on militaryhomeschoolers.org. Okay. And so I'm super excited about that. And so we have the fact that across the U.S., we had all but 2 states. So that means
we're so close. We were so
all
close.
But 4 states.
Goals for
all
next
but 4
year,
states.
right?
Yes.
So close.
Exactly. We were really close, you all. Really close. And so all the branches and everything. And so we're very happy about that. So what are the reasons that our community is choosing to homeschool? What are our reasons? Are they similar to what traditionally has been because of relocation, or can you unfold that for us, Candace?
So there's a lot of different things that factored into homeschooling for our military community. And, there's the military association, there's religion, there's community, and there's a couple I want to focus on. And, when we did our demographics, and we really cast a wide net on, we wanted to know everything. We wanted to know the rank. We wanted to know how many children. We wanted to know where you are. We wanted to know how many years of service. We wanted to know how many years you've been homeschooling. We wanted to know all the information so we could draw conclusions, back and forth, see what we could figure out. So some of these reasons for homeschooling were surprising, some were not. So one that I want to touch on was religion. 73% of our survey participants said that they have some religious association. Just in general, right? And 58% said that their religious affiliation has something to do with their reasons for homeschooling. So that wasn't, that didn't mean that was the sole reason, but that was part of the reason.
That was part of the reason. Yeah, we're not surprised, right?
Part of a reason. Yeah. We also had our community aspect. When you think of homeschoolers, when people typically think of homeschoolers, they think of co-ops, they think of communities, we found that 16% could not find a co-op in their location that they were happy with and that they were actively looking, our military homeschoolers. 13% just weren't interested. So even though that doesn't factor really into reasons, that's kind of I'm getting there.
Yeah. No, I know you. Yes.
So another one were school options. Obviously, every time we move, you're faced with a new set of school options. Are you going DoDEA? Are you going public? Are you going private? Are you going, who knows? Are you homeschooling? What are you doing? So we had some families, I think it was, what was it? Oh, it's not going to be right in front of me. 13% or 9%. 27% and 14%, 27% that have transitioned from homeschooling to public schooling and back to homeschooling, and
Okay.
14% that have gone from public schooling to homeschooling and back,
Wow.
with a wide variety of reasoning. But a lot of those they were displeased with their options, their schooling options in the area, whether
Yeah.
that be Rodia or private or public, and 40% included their school options, in their reasoning or in their discussions of whether or not they were going to homeschool when they got to each location.
Mm-hmm.
So we see that factoring in. Another one that I know Miss Natalie over here is very passionate about is the bullying and school violence.
Yeah.
These were ones that you see nationally, correct?
Yeah, correct.
Yeah.
Correct.
Yeah, these are big reasons we see
nationally.
Those
are concerns nationally.
Big concerns nationally, and no different for our military community, especially when we're bouncing around, when we're deciding whether we're going to go into public school or how we're going to figure it out. But 48% consider bullying as a factor in their decision to homeschool.
Wow. That's a large percentage.
It's a large percentage.
That's a large percentage.
When you realize we're talking about 763 people.
Yes. Right.
Families. That's a large amount. That's half. That's
and we could say, and I think it would be fair to say that's representative across the larger military homeschooling community. Absolutely. Not those that didn't get to respond or didn't know about it, but it's pretty representative. And you're right, that's what we're seeing nationally as well. And like you and I had talked about, many of these families, at least as far as I remember, many of these families that responded and were concerned about the bullying and the school violence hadn't necessarily been victims of it, right?
Ma'am. Yeah. And that was one of the biggest things, is so many of them were homeschooling as a preventative measure for bullying, because they were so turned away from any of these public school systems, private school systems. They were concerned about the reputation of the school's difficulty and reputation for dealing with the bullying, or their inability to deal with the bullying, the mean kids and physical altercations. They were very concerned with how their children would be, especially for children with special needs. They were very concerned about how their children would be brought into these environments. And even though bullying is something we see everywhere, not just for our military home children, or military children, I think it's something that's especially prevalent when you consider how often our children are moving schools. So when you're the new kid, you're the target, right?
Yes.
Maybe not always. Maybe not always,
but it does, determine that you could be at a higher risk, right? Yes, constantly. So, and this is a question I see in the larger military space as well, is that this question of what is the school like there, right? And when you get those orders, what's the school like there? Or, how are your kids doing in the school? What's the data about the school? Has there been any, safety issues? And what is bullying like? And so, or families PCS and the children are placed into the local public school, and they come home and share situations that they are experiencing. And you'll see the questions on typically social media, right? Asking, wow, is this typical? Is this common? Like, we're new here and our child just went for a couple of days to the school, and now they're concerned because they're coming home with these things that they've witnessed or seen. And so the question then, or the statement that I often see as a result is, I'm just going to homeschool. I'm going to pull my kids out and homeschool. And so that's where you're seeing, those numbers that you were just sharing.
So many are concerned with safety, and school violence was also a large concern. We saw 48% were concerned with bullying. 58% were concerned with school violence in a factor of homeschooling, which was just, these are big percentages on that kind of sample. These are really, really large percentages. Like, this is not something that, this is something that could be easily replicated in another study. And this is something that I think really says a lot about, just our schooling at the moment, and reasons why we're homeschooling. They were, a lot of participants voiced concerns about generalized violence, just the unsafe nature of schools, and then school shootings and just
Mhm,
physical altercations. And this was
mhm,
also a preventative measure as
mhm,
well as
mhm,
bullying.
mhm.
Just they kind of went hand in hand.
And one thing I have seen also in the work that I have done is that families, there are those families that within the military that are the traditional homeschoolers, meaning
Mhm.
they've been homeschooling since they were expecting their first baby. They're like, we're
Yeah,
gonna homeschool, right? This child, and they make that commitment and they homeschool and they say, we're homeschooling for the long haul, which means
yeah,
until they graduate from high school. And then there's families who say, wow, the local school isn't working for us at this particular duty station, but it did at the last one. And so they pivot to
yeah,
homeschooling for the time that they are stationed there. But their anticipation is that they will go back into a public or private or DoD school at the next duty station. And so it's interesting how, and that's different than the national homeschool community, because why? We relocate, and most of
so
those people
often. Yeah,
non-military are not moving, right? So we have gone in and out of homeschooling, and it will be interesting to just see, like, how is that working in general, right, for the kids, because it is from homeschooling, which has a different kind of culture and feel,
absolutely. Yeah.
to a public or private school and then back again. So it'd be kind of interesting. I think it's great that we have the options and families make the best choice for
Yeah.
themselves. But it will be interesting if we at some point wanted to dig into that and see if with another
Yeah.
study, because we are
Another
probably,
study.
yeah,
Yeah.
another study.
Well,
Right.
and the research we have on that says, with the 27 and 14% who have gone back and forth, the majority of reasons for that were those who were in school during the pandemic, right?
Okay. Yes.
So many didn't want their children in school during that. And then
Right.
opportunities, so you're seeing pulling out during the pandemic, and then you're seeing people put their children in for the opportunities that
Right.
homeschoolers simply don't have
Right.
sometimes, right?
Right.
We all love homeschooling, but sometimes there's different opportunities in different locations, so
Exactly. Yeah.
we're seeing people do that here right now. I have a friend who just sent her kids in for the opportunities this
Yeah.
year. So
Yes.
it was very interesting.
Yes. Because if you have a child who says, this is something I'm really passionate about, and this is something that I really want to dig into, or this is a specific subject, as
And the
homeschoolers,
school has,
yeah,
yeah,
and
it
the school
depends
has
on
it, right? Then you may feel compelled to say, okay, this is what is going to happen. This is what's going to work for this particular child or for our family. And
yeah,
so, and I affirm the family's rights to do that, because I trust the family to make that best decision for their kids. Increasingly we're seeing a lot more resources for homeschoolers, from courses to sports and activities and all. And so it's becoming less and less that you can't find a specific thing, but sometimes that happens. And so families will make the choice that works best for them. And I'm always excited about that. So,
yeah.
yes. So super duper. So what about, let's see here. So we had, in terms of years of experience, like homeschooling, do you have any information about that in grades? Like,
So
are we seeing a cluster in the middle? And
we
of
are.
course, yes.
We're seeing a good cluster of that, I think, is representative of an increase in homeschooling in the recent years. We've got a good cluster in like first through, I think it's third or fourth grade. You'll have to double check our
Yes,
research. That's
yes,
going to be
yes.
out tomorrow to see that, guys.
Right.
But a big increase, a
Yeah.
big jump.
Yeah.
And then it kind of tapers off a little bit. People are homeschooling less in high school and
Yeah.
less, middle school, high school, and you have to wonder, is that because they're coming out of homeschooling, or is it because we've had this boom in homeschooling recently?
Right.
That's, I'm not sure, is that
Right.
you'd have to target those people specifically and say, hey, when did you start?
Yeah.
So, but we had a great representative sample of people who've been homeschooling. The majority of who answered our survey were homeschooling between, I want to say it was like 2 and 8 years, but
Yeah.
they're on there who it's their first year all the way to like their 39th or
Yeah.
something. And I
Yeah.
think that might have been
Just
you,
a
ma'am.
little smearing, right.
It's not you, but it was somebody.
Yeah.
It was a big one. It was just like, this is
Wow. You've been in it
you know,
forever.
yeah. we've got a huge amount of experience here. So I really feel like in that way, I feel like we got a really good representative sample of
Yeah.
everybody, right? And another thing that I thought was really interesting, as we go back to talking about schools and what schools can offer,
Mhm,
is that
mhm.
our homeschooling participants or homeschooling families, 98% of them really thought that homeschooling gave their children the best educational quality possible.
Wow. Yeah.
It allowed for, there we had one really great comment, we're not down to EFMP yet, but I have to tell you,
Okay.
that
Yes.
homeschooling is the ultimate IEP,
Oh,
right?
wow. See?
Homeschooling allows for that just absolute focus on the child,
Yes.
and when we look at, educational content, strength, and rigidity,
Mm,
because we don't just homeschool because of bullying and school
mhm,
violence, right? And
mhm,
religion, we homeschool because we want our children to have that great
mhm.
education.
Right.
Um, about 60% of our participants thought that strength, rigidity, and content of education were vital. And it factored into determining whether or not they would homeschool, depending on the location as well. Um,
Mhm,
and I
mhm.
thought that was just a really, really interesting piece because they were concerned about critical thinking,
Right.
uh, exposure to different things, worldview beliefs, challenges, if their children were being paced appropriately or taught
Mhm,
on grade level. It
mhm.
was just a whole host of um, what is best for my child.
Yes.
You know?
Excellent, excellent. And that's really what it comes down to for a lot of families who choose to homeschool is that
Mhm.
they believe that this is best for their child. And we see some families make a decision where some are homeschooling, some children are being homeschooled in the family, and some are in a public or private school. So it's interesting when you see those demographics as well. So there's a lot of stuff that we could grapple with for the future, for the next survey, and the next survey, and next survey.
It was a
So
lot of little
yeah,
bits of information,
a little bit,
it
right,
was
a
a lot
little
of little
glimmer
bits
of
of
like,
information. Yeah. Yeah.
yeah. And you all, for those who are listening, the survey had how many questions? 68-ish
It was a lot
questions.
of questions.
It was a lot of questions, you
It was
all.
a beast
And
to get through. Yeah.
we really wanted to get as much as we could data wise. We really wanted the survey to be pretty robust. And so, again, I really appreciate everyone. Like, I was so floored by the responses that came through and the fact that we had so many. And Candace, I just hat off to you and your expertise and just saying, hey, I will support you and come alongside. Um, so, in terms of homeschooling style, I'm just looking here, and we're going to share the survey. So I'm looking, and Candace
Oh,
has
please.
access, but
Yeah.
it's really like really nice, y'all. And so, but like eclectic, which our family has subscribed to the eclectic
Mhm.
style, right? Where
Yeah.
we choose different types of styles and curriculum for different children. Like sometimes classical, Charlotte Mason, those types of things. So eclectic looks like, do I see? I'm looking here, 26.2%. So, and then the next after that was classical at
Yeah.
23.7%. And so, but then we had a little bit, we had unit studies, Charlotte Mason, Montessori, child led, unschooling, and then other. So
There
you'll
were
be able
so
to,
many. And there were so
yeah,
many in that other. We couldn't even, it was just best to keep it at other because there was probably like 50 more different styles in there.
yeah,
Those were just our, homeschooling offers, in this space so many different ways to do it,
exactly,
that you can really
exactly.
fit what's best for your family, right? So,
Yes, yes. And
yeah.
then real quickly, like we talked about, not every child in the family is being homeschooled. So like it looks like about 39% public school in Dodea. And so we're seeing some things with Dodea. When I say, what does that mean? Seeing some things, that's not very clear. It means that I am, again, in my involvement within the military homeschool community, I am seeing frequent questions about making decisions to withdraw from Dodea to
Yeah.
homeschool, particularly Oconus. And so it's going to be interesting in the next couple of years, you all, those of us who are really like we really thrive on data. it'll be interesting to see how that evolves over the next several years. And so just kind of throwing that out there right now. Let's see here. What else? What else do you want to share?
I
What
want to
else?
talk about retention and
Okay.
military association.
Yes.
I know you're not quite there yet because I can visualize exactly where you are.
Yeah, no, retention. Let's talk.
I want to talk about retention because
Yes.
this was one of those that I was just blown away by, and
Yes.
something that I really think we're gonna talk about later.
Yes.
But we found that for 50% of our families, for 50% of our participant families, their military retention was positively impacted by their ability to homeschool. So we really think about, what does that mean? That means that it allowed the families the flexibility for the service member to serve while the children got the education they needed, or to choose the path of flexibility. So the service member could continue to serve, and I thought that was really, really a very powerful way to put it, because it allowed us to see that homeschooling could be considered a retention issue. And we found that 65% of our participants found that being associated with the military did impact their decision to homeschool.
Wow. Wow.
And that went both, of course, that went both ways, right?
Yes.
But the big reasons for that were probably the ones that everybody can think of off the top of your head, right? So we have moving, how often we move, family time, when your spouse is home for the 1 week of 6 months that they're home, you want your children to be home, right? You want that flexibility, family time, consistency, those were our big ones. And I just thought that was a really powerful tool and a lot of information that we can carry on that will be very helpful moving forward.
Yes. We know that retention, it's a big concern, of course, military, because we need to retain people so we can have a fighting force, right? And so that's a no-brainer. But there are so many factors that military families struggle through and work through, and there's a lot of incredible, positives as well to military service. At least from my perspective, we've served 34 years, and I'm super pro service. But that's not without realizing some of the struggles, right? And there are sufficient struggles. And so we know that if a family is not stabilized and happy and feeling like in a good space, right? Mentally, emotionally, even physically, right? With housing and different things and to that nature, the questions start to, how long are we going to be in? How long are we going to serve? When are you, when I'm ready to go. So but whenever you are, right? Let's move on, and so this is important. This is really important and we in this country are having conversations about education, right? And so and school choice and all those types of words and ESAs and charter schools and everything, and so you wonder how that's going to impact us as a community. I really think we are going to see even more of an increase in military families who are choosing to homeschool. And MHA, really wants to be, poised and ready to serve those families, and to be able to just encourage them that we basically are here to support them and with the resources that they need. I really am very passionate about making sure not just that I'm homeschooling my children, but I feel very involved and very passionate about making sure your children, right, who are being homeschooled have what they need. Yeah, I really feel that, because I feel like we're all in one community together. And if homeschooling thrives and people blossom and people feel successful, then that's a win for the movement, period, whether you're in the military community or not. And so anyway, I'll get off my soapbox. Let's see. What else?
I agree. And I feel like this our ability to do this research really allows MHA the ability to, figure out where are those issues, where can we help? We want to be your resource for military homeschooling, right? We want you to be able to come to us. So
exactly. Yes. And we are curating so many opportunities. And I know some of you all have responded to different opportunities that I have posted on our Facebook page, from the STEM to space to the coping skills class, the resiliency classes through the American Red Cross. We've done a lot of partnerships with like tutor.com, and those hopefully will be continuing and growing. And I'll share one day why I'm so excited about tutor.com, but it is an incredible resource, as well as Operation Homefront. I mean, the list goes on of opportunities, the Ronald Reagan Presidential Foundation and Library. So there's so many that have reached out to me. I haven't had to seek them out. United Through Reading, we are embarking on a partnership because they have books, and homeschoolers, what do we like, Candace?
We like books. We like
books. Like reading. We like books. So
we like books.
Yeah. So we're going to be rolling out a lot of things. And so we're excited about it. And this survey is going to help us, this is who we are, right? And we know that the military runs on data. It runs on numbers. And so the survey needed to be done so that we can say, we are here as a community and we aren't going anywhere. And we need resources and support. We don't want anything to change. We're not here to change laws. We're here to keep homeschooling freedom. But there are resources and community and advocacy that we are all for our community. And so we are here, and I have an abundance of people who have stepped up and said, hey, I will help serve on the board. And I am super excited about all of those people and the skills that they bring to the table. Candace is representative of a larger group of people who have said, yes, I'm here to help. And for our community, not for me, but for our community, because we are at our last of 5 is finishing 12th grade, you all. So, but I'm in it for the long haul because I believe in our community. So what else do we want to share before we bring to a close? Because again, this whole survey is going to be available by tomorrow on our website, militaryhomeschoolers.org. Yeah, and I want to be able to show like this is not like, oh my gosh, y'all, it's beautiful. And you probably won't be able to see, but like it's beautiful, right? Like it's gorgeous. Like you'll be able to like look at this survey, right? So there's a lot of data. So just to let you know, you definitely will need to take a look at the website. So yes. Okay, Candace, what is that? What are we going to bring? What are we doing now?
So I want to talk about, because I know we had an SLO on here somewhere.
Yeah.
So I
do. SLO, shout them out.
I would like them to know what our research said, right?
Yeah.
So 41% of our homeschoolers families found that they didn't have access, or they didn't use their SLOs. Right. Mm-hmm. So, how do we change that? And then a staggering, 17%, most people wouldn't think 17% is staggering, but in this context, I think 17% is staggering. Didn't know what an SLO was.
Yes.
For our military homeschoolers not to know that the SLO, the school liaison officer, excuse me, guys, is available for the homeschoolers to use.
Yes.
I thought that was really interesting.
Yes.
So something to think about there.
Something to think about. And, all of my headquarters SLOs, from Lori Phipps to Jackie Kahina, Kristen Aqua, who else out there? Horace Franklin, Stephanie Barrowman. Gosh, did I leave anyone else out? All of you are awesome at headquarters level, and I've supported you all, and I know, and I so love doing it. But I know you don't want to hear those stats because you're working really hard. Your SLs are working really hard out in the field, and I know that. I do know that. But we're working on it. We're working on bringing the two communities together, the school liaisons from across all the branches, as well as what? The military homeschooler, and bringing them together and saying, okay, there's more synergy when we come together. So how can we do that? And what resources do you have? So we had a great event today with CHIA, that's Christian Home Educators Association of California, with all of the school liaisons that jumped on all throughout the whole state of California, and some homeschool leaders as well. And so we want to continue. That was wearing my HSLDA hat, which, by the way, I probably should have said at the beginning. MHA and this survey and all the things connected to Military Homeschoolers Association is not a product. It's not sponsored. It's totally separate from Homeschool Legal Defense Association. I do wear that hat over on that side as military outreach coordinator, but this is totally separate. And but I'm super excited about it, right? Because we got work to do, enough work to do across everything, right?
Yeah.
So what is our last? Did we want to do a little bit about special?
Yeah, I think that's our last.
That's our last part, right?
That's our last big one. Yeah. So from the 763, I feel like I'm probably getting my numbers wrong. No, 763 responses. About 30% of those had a child who was enrolled in EFMP or had some sort of EFMP or IEP, or there's another one that I know. I know you guys, I know I messed it up on the survey. I know I called it the wrong thing. And a lot of you called me out for it. And I'm sorry about that.
We're learning. We're doing what we can, y'all.
I'm figuring it out. About 30% had a child, enrolled with any kind of special, needs, special education, special needs. And 75% of them said it does influence the decision to homeschool. And 80% said it affects the learning environment.
Wow.
Homeschool in, and I think the big factors there, and the big, we asked a lot of open-ended questions. And when you ask a lot of open-ended questions, you have to go through and kind of figure out, okay, what are the big takeaways here?
Right.
The big ones there were, kind of similar to the other ones, but they wanted their children to have the best, safe, and quietest environment. Those were big for this part.
Mm-hmm.
To be able to offer individual attention, the correct and perfect accommodation, right, and the flexibility to school when you need to school.
Right.
And it offered this perfect storm of the ability to cater to children, Yes,
exactly. And
to cater to any child, really, not, because every child needs individual attention, right? And every child needs individual attention. Doesn't matter where you are, it doesn't matter. Everybody needs individual attention. Everybody needs flexibility. And
exactly.
Yes. We saw a lot about that.
Good. Yeah. And I'm not surprised again, because we are, and I see some people in the here that are showing up with the questions and comments. So we're going to go through those, but I'm not surprised with that, with the neurodivergent, because we do see families increasingly that have said, the school isn't meeting the needs that my child has. And so I've often been asked, well, how do homeschoolers who have children with special needs or neurodivergent children, how does a homeschool mom homeschool those kids? And I know it can seem baffling to those who are in a traditional public or DoD school. Like, do you have the skills? Homeschoolers, I really believe a committed homeschool mom is going to find the resources. They're going to figure it out.
It's amazing how you figure it out.
They're going to figure it out, right? And also, many of them are going to seek out private therapies. We have done that ourselves in the past, and through our insurance, as well as they are aware that as a parent, if they are making an assessment that their child is not getting what they feel the child needs to get, then I don't think a parent can ever do worse. A committed parent is going to always do better in some kind of way. And they're going to find where the gaps are or who they need to fill in those resources, right? So they're getting it done.
A lot of that, flexibility and the ability to kind of pick and choose your own curriculum, right? You're going to find what works. You're going to find, if you have appointments to get to during the day, you're going to be able to get to those appointments without excusing yourself,
You're going to do it, for sure.
I mean, you're going to make it work. If you go to a school or you homeschool, you're going to make it work, right?
Yeah.
but for our purposes, you know,
Yeah.
this is what we see. This is what we're seeing. And
Yeah.
this is how they make it work. And it's
How to
just,
make it work.
it's
Exactly.
fascinating
Yeah. Yes.
the way
And
everybody
so,
expresses it. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. And so I have, let me just look over. We have,
Yeah.
can you, the comments, let's see who we have here. Shout out to Rita Roberts. Thank you. Thank you, Rita Roberts. Linda's here, Linda Bendall. Yes, Timothy and Angelica de Jesus. Thank you so much. Or Angelica, I may have, I said it as in the Spanish, but it might not be pronounced that way. And Kimberly Bennett. Hey, Kimberly, thank you for joining. Kimberly has an awesome platform, homeschool counseling network, HCN. And so she and I have been partnering together, but she's an incredible resource out there, ensuring that providers, mental health providers, are culturally homeschool savvy, that they understand homeschooling families and that they can serve them well. And so I'm super excited about where she's going with her organization. Ray McCready, so excited. These are awesome numbers. Hey, Ray. And Linda says, yes, 17%. Yeah, we are literally, and I can share those numbers too. Let's see what else. Linda says safety has been a large issue in Monterey for post schools, and many families have started homeschooling due to this. Yes. Alicia says, hello. Christy Crandall, hi. Great information. Oh, and Linda says, great job. I don't know if you can see the comments or not.
I see it. Thanks, Linda.
Yes, absolutely phenomenal. Thank you. Kate Sealing, thank you. This is helpful. Yes, take a look tomorrow on the website.
You guys are going to like it.
Yeah. Who else is here? Let's see. Oh, Ray says, will you be sending this out to the school liaisons? I'll be sharing this with mine regardless. Ray and I were on the California event with the Vandenberg school liaison was there as well. And so they will have access. It will be on the website. So definitely. And then Alicia, SLPM at Moody Air Force Base. Hi. Alicia, school liaison program manager. Super awesome. And then Marissa is on. You met Marissa at the Bob Jones University BJU Homeschool Family Summit back in November.
So many of these names. I love seeing everybody.
Exactly. Shout out to BJU who hosted in partnership with HSLDA hosted a military homeschool family summit. So all the leaders, we had about 21 military leaders that I invited to Greenville in November. So we had an incredible time. So thanks BJU and Zan and Mike. Thank you so much, Mike Knott. So Linda says, can we pull the survey and share it with? Yeah, you can. Yeah. And will this be going up to DOD? It will be going up to DOD. I do have a meeting with all of the headquarters school liaisons, as well as I think the state liaisons. I think that they will be on, as well as Diana Ganode, who is at the Deputy Assistant Secretary of Defense office. I don't think that position has been filled with the incoming administration, but I did have a relationship with Patty Barron, who was incredible. She's so I don't know who's going to fill that spot, but I will be able to share it with DOD. Yes. And Carolyn Pick over in South Korea, right? Do I have that right? Yes. She says, I'm looking forward to reading the report. So grateful that your organization has created a baseline. Yes, definitely. And then Lisa says, I'm late to this, but what did I miss and where can I find it? You missed so much good stuff, but never fear. It will be available tomorrow on the Military Homeschoolers Association website. And that is militaryhomeschoolers.org. And I should put it in here because you may want to be able to click the link. There. Did I get that in?
There it is.
.org. So on there is a free homeschool PCS checklist on that website too. So if you haven't, and PCS season is beginning soon, it's a checklist that we created to help you with the PCS and homeschooling process. So definitely you want to take a look at that. Okay. Any final questions or comments, you all? Because I know you're going to want to get a hold of this survey tomorrow. But any final questions or comments? I just want to say thank you to everyone. And Candace, again, thank you very, very much.
No,
I
thank
appreciate
you. It's been a pleasure to work with you. This is so great. What a fantastic organization.
Yeah, thank you.
Awesome.
Thank you.
I love it.
And when we rolled this out, we've been working diligently, right? So to get this to our community and the larger DoD community, I don't think the larger DoD community is really aware of the military homeschool, the families and the growth that is happening within the community. And so we're here, you all, we're here. And I believe community is definitely going to continue growing. So Lisa, I hope that answered your question. You'll be able to catch it on the website tomorrow. All right. So I feel as if we've done a great job tonight, and this is super exciting. And this is only the beginning. We have big plans, and we have big hearts that will be serving on our board. And we have incredible partnerships that are already in queue, waiting literally for me. And now it will be for the board. So you're so welcome, Lisa. Thank you for joining. Thank you, everyone. Thank you for watching later. Please like and follow, or actually on YouTube, please follow and click on the notification bell, subscribe rather on YouTube, and like and follow our Facebook page. And if you're not in our group, we have a group called BASE and then the number 2 BASE Military Homeschooling. It's a Facebook group. It's going to be basically the community that will grow from the podcast. And like I mentioned on our YouTube channel, there's a playlist, and it's the Base to Base Military Homeschooling playlist. That's our podcast. It has already launched, and the audio will also be put onto all the audio podcast spaces. But that Base to Base Military Homeschooling Facebook group will be like that community. So all the data, and the podcast is looking for guests. So if you are at a duty station and you are the person who is in the know about resources and the community and what it's like to homeschool there, I am looking for you to be a guest on the Base to Base Military Homeschooling podcast. If you are an organization or company that has resources that you would like to get in front of the military homeschool community, because we are such a large community, then I'm looking for you as guests as well, school liaisons as well. This will be an opportunity for you. I've already shared that with headquarters levels, but I'm telling you all now listening. So definitely reach out to the organization at info@militaryhomeschoolers.org. info@militaryhomeschoolers.org if you would like to respond to any of that. And of course, we're always looking for sponsors. So I never want to say that. We're looking for sponsors because we got big dreams and we have big plans, but we need sponsorship, you all. So I know that you all are out there. And so definitely reach out at that email that I just said. Okay. Candace, any last words? Anything?
No, this was fantastic. And I just can't wait to get more information out to these lovely people, Natalie. It's fantastic. We're going to do so many good things. We've already done so much. We're going to do so much more.
Exactly. This is just the beginning. So thanks to everyone. And we are done for tonight, and appreciate you. Thank you so much, Candace.